just shouted from the mountaintops, "Where is my son?" Kyron vanished June 4th of last year during his school science fair. He was last seen with his stepmom, Terry Horman. She has never been named a suspect. But Terry Horman is still a big part of this investigation, especially after claims surfaced that Terry allegedly tried to hire someone to kill Kyron's dad, Kane. Kane then left Terry, filed for divorce, and took their young daughter with him.
Terry, how can you stay silent when Kyron's still missing?
Kane Horman still has a protective order against Terry, and she is still not talking. Despite search after search after search after search, not a shred of evidence has turned up in little Kyron's disappearance. Look at this precious child. Imagine what his mother is going through, not knowing what happened to her little boy. It's unimaginable. I'm very honored tonight to be joined by Kyron's mother, Desiree Young. Desiree, first of all, I feel like I know you because we devoted so much of our shows over the past year to finding your child. We want to bring him home. Thank you so much for being here. We hope that somehow talking to you will spark somebody's memory, cause somebody who may have some information, who's not coming forward, to come forward and tell everything they know. I have to ask you, Desiree, police are still saying that they cannot say for sure whether your son is dead or alive. It's a difficult question, but what do you think has happened to your precious boy?
Well, obviously I've changed my opinion over time, but in the beginning of the case, I definitely thought Kyron was going to come home any second. I knew that we were going to find him, he was going to be okay, and everything was fine. I didn't think for a second that Terry could have ever done any harm to my son. I know differently now, and it's further reinforced a year later. We know way too many details about Terry and what she's been doing and what she was doing prior to Kyron going missing, and everything about her personality just screams to me that we know that she hates Kyron, just hates him. And we see a lot of writing from her communicating that she did not like him and did not want him in her life. And I just feel now, over a year later, I just feel like she probably harmed him. And we just need to bring him home, and we just need answers. We need her to just tell us what she did with him and where he is.
Now, we reached out to Terry's attorney. We have not heard back. She has been living in relative seclusion, reportedly, with her parents, and there are signs outside the yard that say, basically, don't come in, leave us alone. If Terry is watching, since we did reach out to her attorney and we didn't hear back, and since she is not considered a suspect or being called a suspect, but clearly the news reports would indicate that she's the focus of the investigation, do you have a message for Terry Horman?
I do. Where's Kyron? We want him home. We want answers. We're tired of waiting. It's been over a year. You know, you win, we give in. Just tell us where he is.
And if she does know, she was the last person with him, seen with him at a science fair. She says she left him at the science fair and left, and obviously you have your doubts about that story, but again, I have to emphasize that she has not been charged with anything. She is not under arrest. She's living with her parents in seclusion. If she knows something that she isn't telling, what motivation would you give her to come forward, Desiree?
Well, we're above everything, above punishment or justice for what's been done. We just want the answers. We just want Kyron home. So, you know, above everything else, that's all we want. And I know that that we're willing to get what we can. And I'm sure that they're willing to negotiate with her and talk with her about it. But she just has refused to talk at all. She's refused to clear herself. She knows what happened that day. And I can't go into any of the details, but she knows what happened and where Kyron is, and she knows exactly where she went and what she did with him.
Now, even though she has moved to live with her parents in Roseburg and is in seclusion, you have actually put up billboards near where she lives. Tell us about that, and what is your message?
Yeah. Yes, I have put billboards up. I just want her to see his face every single day. I want her reminded every single day of what she's done. I want her to suffer. I want her to suffer as much as Kyron has. And those billboards are a reminder that I will never stop. I won't stop until we find him. And it's my promise to Kyron that we will never stop. And it's my promise to her that I will be here every single day reminding her that she needs to talk and she needs to tell us what happened.
What have these 13 months been like for you?
A roller coaster of emotions. I've said before it's a nightmare, but I don't even know if I can put into words exactly what it feels like to just have that constant hole in your soul because he's missing. We went and saw Harry Potter the other night. I went with my older son, and there was a scene in there, a little baby that's supposed to be Harry Potter, and he looks just like Kyron at 9 or 10 months old, and I started bawling. And it's things like that. It's every single day, constantly, just things that remind you and remind me of everything he is missing out on and everything that Terry took from us, his whole family. And Kyron, he doesn't get to experience all the stuff. And it's sad.
I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine. And I know that everybody who's watching, all of our hearts go out to you. And we want to be helpful. We want you to have some kind of, I know the word closure is ridiculous. Everybody says who's been through something like this that there is no closure, but answers. Answers.
Yeah.
But what happened to the grand jury? I mean, months ago, we all saw, we heard Kyron Horman, we heard her best friend, Dee Dee Spicer. I think that's her best friend there. Dee Dee Spicer had appeared before the grand jury, had showed up at the grand jury location anyway. And what happened about that? We heard about gym workers who testified that Terry was upset with her husband, Kyron's dad, Kane, because allegedly, apparently, he had insisted Terry's oldest son move out of the family home, which could have created resentment, and that resentment could have, who knows? But whatever happened to all that?
Well, it's my understanding the grand jury is still convened and still working on the case. I heard reports recently that they were still working on it and still making decisions for it. So it's my understanding it's still being used as a tool and still active.
Now, law enforcement has scaled back their task force, their Kyron Horman task force. Apparently just the lead investigator is on it full time, and he works in coordination with the prosecutor and the FBI. How does that feel?
You know, I knew I was prepared that eventually that would happen. It's disappointing and at times very frustrating. We've been waiting for searches to happen since January because the weather was a factor before, and so we were patiently waiting for the weather to warm up, and there's these 3 key areas they still need to search, and we're still waiting on those searches because the sheriff's office just doesn't have the resources. And it's disappointing. It's those searches are what keeps our hope alive, and we as a family feel like Kyron's being forgotten because we're not doing the searches. That's the only way we're going to bring him home, is if we complete those key areas. If nothing else, it rules out another area we know Kyron isn't.
Desiree,
you know,
more on the other side. We'll be right back. That adorable child. Such an adorable child. And he is gone from his mother's life and his father's life, and they are heartbroken and devastated, and they need your help to find him and find out what happened. It is every mother and father's absolutely worst nightmare, incomprehensible. We have no idea what Desiree Young is going through, but she is here courageously joining us tonight to talk about her thoughts, her feelings, her theories, in the hopes of somebody out there hearing something, it jogs their memory, or somebody who's hiding information, especially if somebody is hiding information and they know something, please come forward. Desiree, I have to ask you, how is your relationship with your ex-husband, Kane, Kyron's dad, been? Do you speak at all? What's happening there?
I separated myself from some of the stuff that was going on, and I'm not speaking with him outside of anything that involves the case or Kyron. I just have chosen to make a statement because I was, well, and not just me, my husband as well. We were both extremely disappointed and really upset finding out some of the stuff that was going on in the house that we found out from the media and the court paperwork and all of that stuff. We didn't find out from Kane directly, and it was really upsetting. And it was upsetting because there was so many opportunities for him to share that information with us, and he didn't choose to do that. And so, you know, unfortunately, it's a difficult position to be in, being divorced and having to go through this situation and try and, you know, be on the same mission to find Kyron, but at the same time, we're completely separate people and separate lives, and we live our lives in two different ways. And I just had to make that choice for myself because I couldn't do it anymore.
Now, we haven't spoken to Kane, but he is always invited to also come on. We've had him on in the past. I know you can't get into any details, but are you basically suggesting that there were things that you weren't pleased with, lifestyle?
Correct, yeah. There were lots of things that we're finding out now that I would have never allowed.
I want to go to Bruce McCain. He is a person who's a former county sheriff, and he had some pretty tough words about how this investigation's been handled. Let's listen.